At that point, I said, I'm going all the way to the top. I'm going to become a doctor. I'm going to be the first person in my family, in my immediate family that I know of, that have a doctoral degree. That's what I'm doing. Hello you guys, my name is Aja and welcome to my channel. So today I'll be discussing something that's very near and dear to my heart. So we will be discussing the overall scope of my educational journey and the challenges and successes I've had being a mother, being active duty, and being a full-time student. So if this is something that you're interested in, please continue watching. So the first thing is I need to take it back. So let's take it back to 2011 when I first joined the military. So basically I was in community college before I joined. So I had about 40 credits or so. So I was able to join the military as a PFC, which is an E3, which is 2 ranks above pretty much everybody else that I went to basic training with. So it was pretty cool, like being like, you know, well, obviously it was specialists there, but you know, not being at the complete bottom, right? So I knew that I wanted to finish my degree at the bare minimum, my bachelor's, before I even joined the Army. They explained to me how TA works, how my GI benefits work, and I was motivated to just go to school. So as soon as I got out of basic and AIT, I went directly to the education center and they linked me to Coastline Community College, where I finished my associate's degree in behavioral health. My original goal was to become a behavioral health specialist in the Army. So after that, I ended up enrolling in Ashford University and I finished my degree in psychology there. So at that point, I knew that with a psychology degree that I would have to get to a doctoral level. That wasn't nothing that I was actually thinking about at the time. You know, I was still kind of where I was. So at that point, I decided, okay, I need to start thinking about my future. So how I was able to manage that and take care of everything that I was doing at the time was I communicated with my leadership. So that's the first thing that I want to talk about, is having supportive leaders. If you don't talk to them and let them know what's going on in your life, then they won't know. 9 times out of 10, you have a leader that wants to see you be successful. So if you need to leave early because you have homework or a test or, you know, something to do, get your work done and say, hey, I did everything that I was supposed to do. Can I take off, you know, an hour, 30 minutes early to get home sooner so that I can do? So that's kind of how I maneuvered my life. I was like, try to be a stellar soldier, try to do everything I was supposed to do. And then even I would sometimes, if there was downtime at work, I would even do homework at work. When there wasn't much to do, everybody was just kind of waiting to be released. I waited for formation. I would be out there on my computer doing my own work. So that's the first point. Have communication with your leadership. So the second thing was discipline that I had to develop if I wanted to continue my education. So I had to get my kids on the schedule. I had to be very rigid on the things that I needed to get done. So I am famous for to-do list. If anybody knows me personally, they know that I have a to-do list. On any given day, I have a to-do list and it's everything I need to do, and I have a little box next to it and I check it off once it's complete. That is like motivation for me. So you have to find that motivation for you. If that's something that you can see yourself doing, then hey, why not? So I would have everything on my to-do list that I needed to get done, including assignments, including bathing the kids, doing everything that's on the list. Even if it was something at the time, my son, he didn't know how to tie his shoe. So I would have on there, teach Junior how to tie his shoe with a little box, you know, and we would work at it for, 20 minutes or so, and then we'd be done with it. And I could put them to bed and then I could focus on homework and whatever else that I needed to do. So that's my second thing, get disciplined. The third thing that I want to discuss is no sleep. So if you are serious about your education and you have kids and all kind of other, oh no, I don't need that, and all kind of other responsibilities, you are gonna miss out on sleep. So if you are a sleepyhead just like me, I love my sleep. I love my sleep. If you are a sleepyhead, get over it. You know, at this point, I got addicted to Red Bulls and coffee because I had to stay up. There was just things that needed to get done that I didn't have time to do during the day. I have to get up at 5:30. I have to get kids dressed. I have to drop them off at the daycare. I have to be at PT. I have only basically 1 hour or so to get dressed, go to work. From there, I have from 9 to 11:30. I'm working from 11:30 to 1 o'clock was a good time for me to catch up. So I would go to the DFAC, go to the local Starbucks, there was always a Starbucks or something, and sit down and knock out my homework. Or at least if I wasn't able to do that, I would have a plan for how I was gonna do it, right? So the next thing that I wanna discuss is communication with your teachers. So communication with your supervisors, that is the number one thing as far as communication is concerned, but keeping in contact with your professors will help tremendously. I don't know how many times I missed a deadline, or I wasn't able to turn in an assignment, or something came up work related, I had staff duty, I had something else going on, the kids got sick, something like that. Communicate with those professors because they are there to help you. Literally, they are there to help you, and they will help you. They will get you exactly where you need to be. So, communicating with your professors means emailing them. The first thing, because I'm an online student, you know, and the first thing I would do is in my introduction, I'm introducing myself. Hey, my name is Aja. I'm I'm active duty Army, blah, 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 right? And I will always put in there that I was active duty Army and I had X, Y, and Z going on. And I just made myself seem like extremely busy so that when I went to my teachers to say, hey, I have this, and this going on, they kind of already know because I've already like introduced that. So that helped me along the way, and it helped me build rapport, and you know, it was just a help overall. All right, so that is a summary of communicating with the teachers. All right, so the next thing is communicating with the university. Yes. So the thing is that sometimes being active duty, being a mother, sometimes you just really don't have time. But you don't want to get kicked out the program. You don't want to get kicked out the school. So you communicate with your advisor. Let them know what's going on. Let them know like, hey, I'm not able to do this. And they'll put you on an academic hold. So that it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It doesn't mean any of that. It's just to say, hey, you need a break, right? And it's okay. It's okay to need that. I know that I was upset about me needing a break because the people that I had started the program with, they graduated before me, and you know, I was like, wow, you know. I was like, but you know what? I'm on a whole different path. I was comparing myself to people that have no kids, that, you know, have two-parent household situations going on. They have help and everything else. Like, I didn't even consider that I wasn't in the same situation as them, you know. But I had to mature, right? So that's the next thing that I want to discuss is being mature, right? About that. Because I got pregnant with my son at 18 years old. I was a kid. I didn't know anything about life, about nothing. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't even know I was going to be in the military at all, right? But the thing that helped me with getting that maturity was life. life happened to me. Things got hard. I went through a whole divorce, and I beat myself up because I felt like a failure. And I took a break from school. At that point, I hadn't even graduated with my bachelor's yet at the time. I took a break, you know, I was feeling sorry for myself and just all the things, right? And I started to realize that I was getting nowhere, just moping around and being upset and everything else. So the next thing I'm going to discuss is going to the education center. So every military installation has an education center. Go there. They have counselors there that will sit with you, and they will go over your whole life if that's what you want to do. Any educational plans, they have all the answers. They know all the schools. They have all the resources. So sit down with your education counselor and they'll tell you exactly what you need. I didn't know that you had to be a graduate from ALC in order to qualify for TA for a master's program. So I didn't know that at first. So I went in there thinking that I was gonna immediately start my master's program and have the military pay for it, but I had not been to ALC at that point. So I went to ALC, I graduated, and then I was able to use those benefits. So that's when I enrolled in Arizona State University, and that came from a recommendation because I wanted to become a forensic psychologist, and the counselor recommended the school for this specific program. So that's what I mean by using the counselors and using the information that they give you so that you can make a informed decision about your educational path, right? All right, that's key. All right, so the next thing that I want to discuss is support. So a lot of people think that they can get through life by themselves and stuff, but you know, we are humans and we were not designed at all to be alone and by ourselves, you know. And the sooner I figured that out, the better it became. So I became more social, sort of. And I started to reach out to students that were in my classes that I knew, and I started to communicate with them more. And then we started to have study groups together, and we started to have discussions. And actually, even though we've never met in person, we're all friends because we all have common goals. And it became like a family in some of my classes. To this day, I still talk to people from my bachelor's program, from my master's program, just because it was that good. Like, if we needed help with assignments or we didn't understand and the teacher hadn't responded fast enough or something along those lines, it worked out. So that was a key thing in my success. So the last thing that I want to discuss as far as my success is concerned is having high standards. I went into school saying, hey, I want to get a 4.0. I want to get a scholarship. You know, I want to be the best forensic psychologist that I could be, right? And that was the attitude that I had to have the whole time. So I wanted to ace all my classes. There was some times where life happened and, you know, I was barely passing or something, but I always communicate. I've always made sure that my professors knew exactly what was going on and whatnot, and they were able to be lenient as far as some stuff. You know, when you're a military soldier, civilians kind of just assume that you like out in the field doing whole stuff all the time, when that may not even be the case depending on whatever your job is. So they understand, basically. They understand. They look out for their soldiers, and that's kind of what I want to just drive home for about that. So, challenges. So many challenges. So many times I wanted to give up. So many times I was done, right? But what drove me really was, for one, it was my mom. My mom didn't graduate from high school. she had my sister early, you know, just education was not like a big thing in my family. And I wanted to just change that. I wanted to break that cycle and say, hey, you know, I could be successful in the military. I could be successful in my education. And I want to pass this on to my kids. And that's what drove me. A huge challenge that I had was self-doubt. You know, I hung around a lot of people that, you know, we didn't really have that in common as far as wanting, you know, to excel in your education and that kind of thing. So self-doubt was a huge thing for me. It was so huge. It would be times where I'm just kind of like, you know, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. You know, like somebody else. I'm not good enough. You know, all of those words that, you know, you feel, you know, when you're challenging yourself to do something. That's overall what it was for me. And my sister, she's 5 years older than me, and she's the one that, you know, motivates me most of the time, especially at that point in my life. And she said to me, like, you know, you are the smartest person that I know. Like, you got this. And just hearing those words just changed me, changed my mindset completely. Like, just having somebody believe in you. She's like, you got those babies. Like, they look up to you. And I started to change. I did. You know, I was always in school grinding, doing stuff, but that changed. At that point, I said, I'm going all the way to the top. I'm going to become a doctor. I'm going to be the first person in my family, in my immediate family that I know of, that have a doctoral degree. That's what I'm doing. And I decided that way back when, before I had even completed my master's program. So I completed my master's program in 2020. So it was COVID time, and then I was a little discouraged because I was looking forward to walking the stage and doing all of that, but our ceremonies had been canceled due to COVID. So they had like an online ceremony. It was okay. Man, right? But I said, I'm gonna give myself 3 months, and then I'm going to apply for the doctoral program. So I gave myself 3 months. Within the 3 months, I had been working on my resume and my application and all of that. And, you know, I wasn't confident that I was even going to get in the program, you know. And that was another thing, like, just being confident to know, like, I got this. I didn't have that at that time, even though I was motivated to do it. So when I put in my application, did everything and stuff, I got an email maybe like 2 weeks later, like congratulating me on being accepted into the program. Oh my God, you don't know how happy I was. I just couldn't believe it was happening, because if I hadn't been accepted into the program, I would have been like, okay, this is my excuse to stop. But God had a whole different plan for me at that point. He did. He had a whole different plan, and I didn't even see it at that time. So when I started the program, I used the same tactics that I always have. I communicated with my supervisors. I communicated with my teachers. I started to build relationships with students in the class. And I realized that all of the students that I was in class with, we all had a common denominator. And that was that we all was trying to finish. So that's all that I needed. I needed a group of people that had a common goal like me, and I could use that motivation to help motivate myself. And that's exactly what happened. So I sailed through the program. Our program is a 2-part program. So the first program was just like your normal classes that deal with criminology, psychology, all of that, just at a different level, right? a lot of writing, a lot of writing. So that meant less sleep, early mornings, you know, getting the kids where they need to go, no weekends, no time out, no nothing, no any of that stuff. I was like, you know, late 20s at that point, and you know, I wanted to go to the club and I wanted to do all this and that, but I just couldn't. I couldn't because I had a goal. And if I didn't decide that I was going to complete this goal and cut all that extra stuff out of my life, I would have never finished. And that was the difference between me and the people that I was kind of hanging out with and all of that. Like, they were still hanging out, still doing them and blah, blah, blah. But me, I had to like, so now I'm acting funny, you know, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. But people don't really get it when they're not, you know, experiencing that. Another challenge that I had was once I entered into the second phase of the program, which is the dissertation phase, it was just like marrying a topic and just getting it off the ground, because writing a dissertation is a completely different thing than just going to school and taking the classes and stuff. So changing my mind to be able to hyper focus on the things that I need to know in order to make a successful dissertation, that's what I had to do. So that took a while. And in my life, I had just got married. I had just had a baby. So I contacted my academic advisor, and guess what? I took a break. I took a whole 1.5 year break because I was like, oh God, this is just too much. I need to get myself together. So at that point, I took a break from the program, but I did not take a break from my career. So I was able to focus on my career. So I was finishing everything, went to school, did my classes, everything, and then I was able to get promoted. And then that is kind of what motivated me, like, okay, I'm reaching goals, so I can stop here, right, in my military career, because at the rank I'm at, I have to be here for 4 years anyways, right, before I get my first look. So at that point, I called my advisor back and I just let her know, hey, I want to get back into the program. She said, okay. I had to do like a form of some sort, and I was ready to start. So I started in January of that year, and then I started right back into the dissertation right there. Boom, it hit me right in the face. So I was like scared. That's what I felt like. Am I good enough to be a doctor? You know, do I have the communication skills to be a doctor? So here's that self-doubt, right? Am I good enough? Am I good enough? And that's the question that you have to answer for yourself. And when I asked myself that, I'm getting emotional. When I asked myself, was I good enough? Something in me said, hell yeah, you good enough. You're good enough. So stop. And that's exactly what happened. And the rest is history. So now at this point, I'm like into my second chapter, working with my chair, and it's just been a smooth sailing process as far as my self-doubt, but it's still difficult, the writing and all of that. That's not what I'm talking about. But and then as far as my home life is concerned, having a supportive spouse has made a tremendous difference for me, because I spent most of my career as a single parent. So I had all of these responsibilities that I had to take care of by myself. So now I have my husband to say, hey, I have some homework I gotta do. Would you be able to take on this and that? And he's like, okay. So that is the difference when I was able to, finally settle, get married, do the grown lady stuff, and then, having more kids slowed me down for a little while, but then I'm just kind of like, no, I am an example for them. So even on my worst days, when I don't even want to get out of bed, I have to show up regardless, And as far as my career is concerned, I still have to do everything that I need to do to still, be successful at my job and get promoted and move up and do everything that I said I was gonna do, and doing this at the same time. So you have to be able to multitask. That's one thing. You can't just be straight-minded like how some people are that can't focus on this and that. Because at any given moment, I am like an octopus. I'm here, there, wherever, So overall, I have had many challenges and also many successes with my educational journey. Just being a mom, being active duty. It's not easy, like, at all. Like, I will be lying if I'm trying to sit here and make it seem like life has been easy for me. Like, it has not been whatsoever. But I'll tell you, when you have that degree in your hand and you are done, like, it's no better feeling. It's no better feeling than that. So if you're watching this and wondering, like, how the world would you be able to manage school, motherhood, whatever else you have going on with being a full-time student and, reaching your educational goals and stuff, don't even think no more. Just do it. That's it. Like, that's all that had to happen. And I had to put my insecurities down. I just took them out and threw them in the river because I was done being insecure. I was done having self-doubt. I was done feeling like I wasn't good enough. And I was ready to just move forward into what is for me. And that is what has motivated me to be successful in anything that I do. Even this YouTube thing, like, just do it. Like, the more oh my God, I can't do this, I can't do this, the more the devil gets to working. Like, the devil is busy at all times, right? So you just have to just find your happy place, go to the education center, sit down with an advisor, tell them what your goals are, and they will help you develop a plan for you, right? And then you could start chipping at it. In my doctoral program, I've been in this program for almost 4 years. So it's a 6-year program. So, I'm doing well in it, but it's just been a long time. Like, I am so tired of school. But I know that this is my goal. This is what I want to do. And I have, 7 more years left in the military. I don't know that I'm going to really ever do anything with my doctoral degree as far as right now is concerned, because right now I'm focused on retirement. So I still have 7 years that I have to perform for the military. I have to do well. I have to get good NCO yards. I have to be the best soldier I could be, right? So I haven't focused on, like, the future yet. But what I do know is that becoming a doctoral candidate has changed my life. Like, I have a different type of confidence in me that never existed before. If you speak to somebody that knows me in real life, that would have known me 5 years ago or something, they would say that I'm a completely different person because I am. And that is it for today. So if you have been inspired in any type of way, give me a thumbs up. That sounds so funny saying. But anyways, have a good night. I'm almost done with dinner, so let me get to going. And you have a blessed one. Bye-bye.